Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly unprecedented automotive experiment. We're diving headfirst into a frantic 7,000-mile journey all the way out to Abu Dhabi, with one seemingly impossible goal: organizing a massive, completely unscripted gathering of the world's rarest hypercars for the ultimate drag race showdown. Oh, and doing the whole shebang in just 2 days. It's a logistical nightmare of epic proportions, and we're going to break down exactly how this chaos unfolded.
So let's just dive right into the mess. The immediate chaos upon arriving at the massive Tilo Suhan mile drag strip can really be summed up in one quote from the organizers. Things aren't running to plan already. This perfectly captures the scene, you know? You have this enormous, world-class facility built for extreme speed, a massive convoy of trucks pulling in, and inside those trailers sit multi-million-dollar machines. But there's a huge catch. They're completely stuck, waiting for their owners, many of whom are running hours late after a long night of partying. It is the ultimate clash of highly scheduled production meeting the completely unpredictable reality of coordinating billionaires.
And hovering over all of this was a literal ticking clock, 48 hours. The team had exactly 2 days to unbox these fragile hypercars from the convoy, convince the owners to actually race their priceless possessions, and capture all the footage. This wasn't some scripted movie set. It was an absolute gamble against time, trying to align unpredictable schedules with complex, highly temperamental engineering marvels within a ridiculously tight window.
Now, you gotta understand just how absolutely absurd this lineup is. Through connections with Pupil of Fate Motors and the Supercar Modulus Car Club, the roster of cars locked inside those trailers was nothing short of legendary. We're talking the Bugatti Chiron Supersport, the Koenigsegg Jesko Absolute, the Aston Martin Valkyrie, the McLaren Senna, the Ferrari SF90XX, and the Bugatti Divo. This isn't just a list of cars. This is a collection of the absolute pinnacle of human automotive achievement, all just sitting idle in the desert heat, waiting to be unleashed. So, what does it actually take to set up a hypercar race? You'd think you just line them up and floor it, right? Not even close. It's a frantic, step-by-step hustle. Step 1, literally just wait around for the late owners. Step 2, and yeah, this actually happened, frantically search for the missing keys to a multi-million-dollar Bugatti Chiron. Step 3, navigate the incredibly slippery track conditions of the drag strip. And finally, Step 4, just cross your fingers and pray these fragile, insanely complex machines actually function when pushed to their absolute limits in the desert heat. Total discombobulation behind the scenes.
Section 1. The ultimate hypercar rematch, France versus Sweden.
All right, this was the showdown everyone was waiting for. A historic clash, complete with actual factory test drivers flown in just to make sure things went perfectly. Here we see the drastic contrast in engineering philosophies staring each other down on the tarmac. On one side, France's Bugatti Chiron Supersport, an absolute behemoth relying on an all-wheel drive system and a massive quad-turbo W16 engine. On the other side, Sweden's Koenigsegg Jesko Absolute, taking a wildly different approach using rear-wheel drive and a twin-turbo V8 engine, running on potent 85 ethanol fuel to maximize its output. It's literally brute force and mechanical grip versus lightweight engineering and explosive ethanol power.
Let's look at the raw numbers here, because the stakes are astronomical. Both the Bugatti Chiron Supersport and the Koenigsegg Jesko Absolute boast an earth-shattering 1,600 horsepower. The Bugatti squeezes out a tiny bit more torque, at 1,600 Newton-meters compared to the Koenigsegg's 1,500. But the real decider here? That final column, the drivetrain. All-wheel drive versus rear-wheel drive. On paper, they are incredibly evenly matched marvels of engineering.
But hey, as we all know, spec sheets mean absolutely nothing when reality hits. During their very first rolling race, things got terrifying incredibly fast. Sam, the guy driving the Jesko, perfectly described it. Marcus grabbed the Jesus wheel. Picture this, hitting a bump on the track at a staggering 205 miles per hour, the Jesko violently snaps sideways. It took the immediate, split-second intervention of Marcus, the Koenigsegg factory test driver sitting in the passenger seat, to grab the wheel and literally save this masterpiece from total disaster.
Somehow, despite that massive heart-stopping scare, they lined right back up for the main event from a dead stop. And here's the quarter-mile result. The Bugatti Chiron Supersport perfectly hooks up and takes the launch victory. Why? Well, remember that slippery track surface we mentioned earlier? The Bugatti's all-wheel drive system was able to claw into the tarmac, while the rear-wheel drive Koenigsegg really struggled to put its explosive power down cleanly off the line. Physics simply won the day.
Section 2.
breakdowns, and empty tanks. Even billion-dollar cars fail.
But the story doesn't end there, because even with billion-dollar cars on the tarmac, perfection is pretty much a total myth. Enter another absolute monster, the Bugatti Divo. Now, this is a 1,500 horsepower hypercar sharing that same insane quad-turbo 8-liter W16 engine. But what makes the Divo special is its 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox. It's specifically geared for brutal off-the-line acceleration rather than outright top speed. This mechanical edge made it the absolute perfect challenger to take on the victorious Chiron Supersport.
So they managed to get them lined up, the tension is completely palpable, and then this happens. The Chiron suffers a massive power cut right off the line. Actually, scratch that. It wasn't a blown engine or a shattered transmission. In the most anticlimactic twist ever, the multi-million-dollar Chiron Supersport cut its boost simply because it was dangerously low on fuel. Yep, in all the chaos, someone forgot to put gas in the tank, instantly handing the victory to the Divo. It's almost comical how a basic oversight completely ruined a historic race.
Let's pivot to another highly chaotic matchup that really shows just how unpredictable these machines are. We had the 1,030 horsepower Ferrari SF90X going up against the 1,500 horsepower Koenigsegg Regera. Now, on paper, this looks like an absolute slaughter, right? You've got the highly reliable, track-focused Italian hybrid down by almost 500 horsepower against a wildly powerful yet notoriously temperamental Swedish machine.
And here is exactly why you can't just trust the numbers. The Regera shockingly lost to the Ferrari, and the culprit? A single-gear transmission overheat. You see, the Regera uses this incredibly complex direct drive system, but the back-to-back hard launches out in the desert heat just proved to be way too much. It hit critical thermal limitations, forcing the car's computer to drastically slash the hybrid system's power output well before the quarter-mile finish line. The Ferrari? It simply stayed cool and consistent.
And then, just as they were setting up for the highly anticipated Jesko versus Divo race, a simple mechanical sound brought the whole production to a grinding halt. The Koenigsegg team made the call. There's a strange noise, we're standing this car down. A mysterious ticking noise in the engine meant the final race was canceled at the absolute last second. Because at the end of the day, no one is willing to risk destroying a priceless hypercar over an unscripted drag race.
Section 3. Electric Surprises, the Chinese EV Upset.
Okay, this brings us to what was, hands down, the most shocking upset of the entire chaotic day. Earlier on, this relatively inexpensive Chinese EV, the Xiaomi SU7 Ultra, rolled in. It had actually been delayed because they were actively de-restricting its software over at the dealership. But once it was fully unleashed, it put out an unbelievable 1,548 horsepower. That created a massive 500-plus horsepower gap over the elite Italian thoroughbred, the Ferrari SF90XX. They lined them up right as the sun was setting.
And let me tell you, the electric Xiaomi absolutely decimated the Ferrari off the line. It literally just vanished into the distance. It was a completely ego-crushing defeat for the traditional supercar, which actually led to this hilarious coping mechanism from the Ferrari driver. You still look like a yellow vape going down the road. I mean, when your legendary supercar gets completely destroyed by an electric family car, sometimes all you have left is insulting its paint job.
So, wrapping all this up, what should we actually take away from this explainer? Well, here are the cold, hard realities of real-world hypercar racing. Spec sheets? They mean absolutely nothing out in the wild. Lost keys can cause massive delays. Something as simple as an empty gas tank can ruin a $1 million clash of titans. Complex, space-age hybrid gearboxes can overheat in a matter of minutes. Unpredictable tracks can terrify even the most seasoned factory test drivers. And perhaps most humbling of all, a $50,000 electric family car can effortlessly destroy a legendary supercar in a straight line.
Which leaves us with a final, pretty provocative thought. In a world where a $50,000 electric family car can easily decimate a thoroughbred Ferrari, what makes a hypercar truly ultimate? Is it just the sheer raw speed? Or is it the noise, the drama, the incredible mechanical complexity, and the fact that they demand real skill and, let's be honest, a little bit of luck to operate on the very edge? I'd argue that is the true soul of a hypercar, and it's something a spec sheet can never, ever fully capture. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll see you next time.